Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from PeakofSerenity.com here with another video commentary. This time it's Mythic Elisande, the ninth boss in Mythic Nighthold. And let's get down to it. Mythic Elisande is a relatively, in my opinion, it was an easier fight, especially when compared to Star Augur. The control that is required and how you have to time things well in Mythic makes it much easier to follow, I feel, than in Heroic. Really not much has changed, at least from a melee perspective. I didn't really have any particularly special jobs in this. Really the key to this fight is beating the DPS timers and the timing things perfectly. Sometimes, for example, like these first ads, you don't want to kill them too early, you don't want to kill them too late. So make sure you're listening to your raid leader in terms of what to listen for. There's really not a ton of things for Windwalkers to do on this fight. Really, this first phase is just a burn phase. You just want to survive and then push the boss as quickly as possible so that you minimize the amount of ads that she spawns, or whatever they're called, additional copies of herself. For this fight, I took Zuen and Whirling Dragon Punch simply because that's what I'm comfortable with, and due to the time dilation mechanics, hit combo can be rather annoying on this fight. Hit combo still probably overall the better choice on this fight because a smaller percentage of it is spent killing the ads compared to Heroic, where Zuen is pretty strong. But it really just depends on how good you are with managing your hit combo through these speed up and slow down mechanics, plus these periods when she disappears. So if you are using hit combo, make sure you're tracking it. You may need to use a Chi Wave or a Flying Serpent Kick or something to keep it out of combat. So here we are in the second phase. It's really just kind of a rinse and repeat. Same situation. This fight, like I said earlier, I really felt like it was in much better control because it's a lot more control oriented rather than just killing things as quickly as possible. Windwalker is fully capable of soaking orbs that fall from the sky through Touch of Karma and something like Diffuse Magic. So if you are asked to do that, you should be fully capable of it. There are a lot of movement speed, movement increases, and movement abilities that a Windwalker has to help us move out of not getting hit from the bad things, so don't get hit from the bad things. In terms of legendaries, you can use pretty much whatever you're comfortable with. The emphasis is on killing Elisande, so you can focus a little bit more on single target if you so wish. But there are periods of AoE and I guess I would call it cleave, where you may get more from other legendary combinations. So in general, this fight is really just about surviving and executing the mechanics, killing things correctly, avoiding these ads or these circles. Sorry, the big thing about the circles is that there are additional ones that will come from other directions. So be aware of that. They killed us quite a bit to people who are not paying attention. Windwalkers are capable, especially through the Storm, Earth, and Fire mechanic, to attack during this fight. For example, we had several of our ranged focus on one of the slow ads. So a Windwalker is fully capable of focusing on the slow ad. You can send your Storm, Earth, and Fire over there. You can put Transcendence down and roll over there in order to kill it, stuff like that. Really, whatever your raid needs. Like I said, again, this fight really depends a lot on control. So you kind of have to do whatever your raid requires. But really, it's just rinse and repeat. You kill Elisande, you kill the ads at the correct time, you focus on Elisande, and stay alive. Staying alive is the most important. So if you're given a job like soaking the orbs, make sure you do that, and focus on the fight. Really aren't a ton of tricks that I've learned in terms of other than you can use transcendence to get through some of these circles if you're in kind of a rough spot. You can transcendence one spot, run away, and then once it's past your transcendence clone, whatever you want to call it, transcendence spirit, then you can port back to it, even if you would otherwise have been in the line of fire. Typically the most important damaging parts are the start of each phase, so you want to try and make sure you have some cooldowns available in order to help burst. If your raid has a lot of burst, then I recommend you may want to save it because you do not want to kill the slow ad especially too slowly or too quickly. Sorry, because you want to make sure that his slow buff is up for as many of these rings as possible. So as you can see, it disappeared there right after the rings got slowed by it, so that's kind of what you want to do. And you also want to make sure that you can get as much of the fast buff as possible when you need it. So in general, like I've said a bunch of times, this fight is all about control and listening to your raid leaders, so make sure that you understand when you should be attacking what and how much damage you should be pouring into the other targets. If you need to burst down the other ads, make sure that you have a cooldown available for that and you're not just tunneling on Elisande. And if you need to limit the damage on the other ads, then go back to tunneling Elisande. But like I said, this fight really is all about control and not just beating the DPS timers, but beating them at the right times. So make sure you are listening. But that's really it. There's not a ton to do in Elisande. It's a relatively easier fight compared to Star Augur and Gul'dan. So hopefully this video helped you a little bit. There are not a ton of tips and tricks on this on this fight in order to eke out a chunk of extra DPS. So hopefully this answers more questions than it creates. If you like this content and the other content, please support us through Patreon or PayPal. And by us, I mean all the authors at PeakofSerenity.com. For more information about Windwalkers, check out all the resources on PeakofSerenity.com. You can check out my other Mythic and Heroic commentary videos if you find this useful. And that's really it. I'm trying to feel like I'm missing something else. But, all right, thank you very much for watching, and take care.